On this call out, I am fixing this fridge, this double door glass fridge. At the bottom, we have two motors. That means we have two condensers for this fridge. These motors are there to cool the condensers as they are getting hot. On top, we have three fan motors for this fridge. As you can see, the two and the one on the other side. Their complaint is that this fridge is freezing stuff. Like if they put something here for a few days, it will freeze. Just like this drink. You can see that this drink is frozen. It's all ice on the inside. So they don't want that. Even this porridge that you see, amahewu, ukudla kwasemzansi, it's all ice, it's frozen. Even these tomatoes that you see at the back, they all frozen. Just listen and hear for yourself. Let us now consider carefully this wiring diagram. It says we have a thermostat, which then powers the timer. These three fan motors that are on top, they are not powered by this timer because they are connected before the timer. So that means they are powered by the thermostat and also the two fan motors on bottom. So the timer only powers the compressor according to this diagram. So the timer only switches on and off the compressor according to this circuit. Why? In case the thermostat shorts, the timer will stop the compressor on defrost cycle and run the compressor on frost cycle. We also have these three fan motors and these two fan motors. These are powered by the thermostat. So they won't switch on and off when the thermostat shorts. Now that we know the ins and outs of how is this fridge being wired, let us now leave the theory part and do the practical part. Our light from the AC source is here and neutral is here. So we can say that number 1 is earth, number 2 is life, and number 3 is neutral. Now let's consider what we have that is connected on life. Our diagram says life should be connected on two things, that is the switch for the lights and the thermostat. So we've got two things to be connected to life, and they are the switch and the thermostat. So we have two things connected to life, and that's perfect. That's right. That's correct. But now this wire is going up, and this wire is going up to the three fan motors on top. So that is the big problem here. These fan motors on top, they're not stopping. That's what it means. And the wiring diagram says just like it has been done on the timer, they're supposed to be connected on the output side of the thermostat. Let's just go to our timer. So they use the defrost timer. That's live and neutral. So neutral is bridged from the terminals to the defrost timer, then from the timer to the relay of the compressor. On this cable, we've got neutral and that brown, which is on the output side of the timer. But this one is the input on our timer. That one serves as live. So everything is perfect on our timer. But where is this input of our timer coming from? It is coming from number 4 here, and it is this brown that goes to the timer. Remember that this brown which is the input side of the defrost timer, must be connected to the output of the thermostat. It turns out that the black wire that I'm holding is the output side of the thermostat, and as you can see, it's going to the front where our thermostat is located. So the red wire that is on terminal number 2, which is live, according to the diagram, goes to our thermostat, and then that red comes back from our thermostat as black. Remember, we have seen that there is black on terminal number 4, and this black is there to power the defrost timer. This black must not only power the defrost timer, it must also power the 3 fan motors at the top and the 2 fan motors at the bottom. So we need to remove the 3 fan motors for the top that are connected on terminal number 2 and put them to terminal number 4 so that they can be powered at the same time the timer is powered and the 2 fan motors at the bottom are powered. To witness that, we can see that where black goes, there are 2 browns. The other brown goes to the defrost timer to switch it on, and it will also power the compressor as we have discussed. And the second brown goes at the bottom fans, the 2 fans at the bottom. So instead of having 3 connections to black, we have 2 connections. So we really need to take out that brown, which goes to the fans at the top on terminal number 2 and put it on terminal number 4. Let us now leave the back and go to the front. On the front we have this. This is not the electronic controller, by the way, as I have thought when I saw it. It has these 2 white wires. They are connected to the temperature sensor of the fridge. We then have the thermostat. We have seen that the thermostat is powered by red, which is coming straight from live source, and red is the input. We can see that red is bridged to what I said is not the electronic controller. We also have black, which is the output of the thermostat, goes to the back, to the timer and the fan motors. And then this black is bridged to this thing again. So this explains, or let me say, let me explain why I don't think this is an electronic controller. I might be wrong, I might be right. So the reason is, if you can see here, we've got red, which is live from the back. This red goes to the thermostat, and it is then bridged to this electronic controller, if you choose to say it's an electronic controller. Notice that black, which is the output of the thermostat, again is bridged to this electronic controller, if you choose to call it an electronic controller. Now, what's happening here, or what I think they were trying to do here, if this is really an electronic controller, whatever that they were trying here, it's confusing. Why I say so? Because if this is an electronic controller, when the temperature is met according to the signal sent by the temperature sensor, this controller should cut electricity. So it should not supply electricity to the black wire. But now, what if the thermostat supplies the electricity to the back? Again, if the thermostat sees that the temperature is met and the thermostat cuts the electricity from the black or on the back wire on the output side, what if this controller again um, supplies this black wire. So I'm not the one who made the wiring for this fridge, who made this fridge from scratch. Too bad I don't have the people or the manufacturers to come and explain this to me. So as a technician, I need to figure a way that is going to help my client here, meaning I need to make this fridge stop freezing stuff. On my side, I have seen that this black thing, which I think is an electronic controller and also think is not an electronic controller, is not working. It's not cutting off electricity because it was reported to it that we are on negative according to the temperature on the fridge, but it did nothing about that. So I will use the thermostat to do that job. So I will use the thermostat. So when the temperature is met on the thermostat, then electricity will be cut from the output. So the thermostat will cut off electricity on the black wire. So when it cuts off electricity on the black wire, there will be no supply to our defrost timer. There will be no supply to our fence at the top and our fence at the bottom. Finish. And my story ends there. By the way, I thank these manufacturers for making me see that this thermostat can be used to control the temperature for this fridge. Normally, Coke and other companies like Kingsley, they're not using this thermostat. They are using temperature sensors to measure and control the temperature on their fridges. They also use the electronic controllers. So their sensors send signal to the electronic controller. When the temperature is met, the electronic controller will switch off the compressor and the fan motors, which is not what they did here. So as I have said, I'm going to use the thermostat and I'm going to replace this thermostat because I'm not the first one to come and do the repair here. So they did something that made this thermostat stop working. I don't know whether they came and the thermostat was already not working, or they came, it was working, then they destroyed it. So I'm gonna replace it with the new one, and then this fridge will be good to go. I noticed that when I was editing this video at home, I did a mistake. I didn't took a video showing how I wired this electronic controller or this display if it's not an electronic controller. By the way, I'm convinced that it's not an electronic controller. If it's an electronic controller, it's not working. So what I did here, you can see that there is a black wire from the output side of the thermostat that is going to the back to power the defrost timer, the fans. So this black wire is bridged to this black thing, this electronic controller, if you choose to call it that way. So I decided not to connect that black wire. My reason was, if the thermostat cuts off electricity and when the temperature is met, if this thing continue to gives us an output there, then the timer will not switch off and the fans will not switch off. So that is what I was avoiding when I disconnected that black wire. By the way, for this thing to display and monitor temperature nicely, next to red, we connect neutral to power it to come so that it can come on. You can see that the red is again bridged to the switch next to this black thing. So that red is is the switch that we saw on the wiring diagram that powers the lights for this fridge. But this fridge no longer has lights, so I did not connect those lights because they said they not worried about lights. So that's how I wired this thing. So the thermostat now is responsible for switching off the timer and the fans. It's also responsible for switching on the timer and the fans. The other problem that I encountered was that the thermostat that I was using as the replacement here didn't mount like this one. So I decided to keep it inside at the back of the front panel and told the owner he will have to open the panel for him to get to it and then control the temperature. My display is working nicely. We were on 16 when we started and we are now at 10. The knob for the thermostat is not there, as I have said. The thermostat is kept inside or at the back of this front panel. So the fridge is working. I am confident that it's no longer gonna freeze stuff. The owner knows where to get me if that problem continues. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel.